Hi, everyone. Welcome to our broadcast of Fiction in Real Life. I'm Jennifer Moore, and my co hosts are Julie Daines, Heather Moore, and Jen Geigle Johnson, hosts. All right, so we're going to get into it. You maybe saw that we had that call out that was for hometown urban legend stories from your town. And the reason that I want to do this show is because I have a great story from my town, Kaysville. So I don't know if you know where it is. Kaysville is about 25 miles north of Salt Lake City in Utah. And we have a legend, the legend of Kay's Cross. And so just like every urban legend, no one really knows what's truth and what's not. There's a lot of different stories that don't line up. Nothing makes sense, but I'm going to tell you what I know and what I read on the internet just to kind of like clear up some of the stuff. So Kay's Cross is this cement cross. It's 20 feet tall. You can kind of see in that picture, there's a person that looks like she's, or he, I can't tell, a person in an orange shirt that's climbed up on it. So it's really tall. It was built in the 40s. And so cement was super expensive. It was after the Great Depression. It was like World War II era. So if you wanted to build something with cement, you had to really want to and spend a lot of money and stuff. It was said that it glows in the full moon just because it's that light cement and stone. And people said that if you touched it during the full moon, it would burn you. So around this area, it's in this little hollow. I've actually never been there. It's hard to get to. Like I said, it's a hollow and it's kind of behind some neighborhoods. I think you would have to go through someone's yard to get there. My sister has been there. Um, and she says it's cool and creepy, and there's like a forest around it and stuff. Um, but there's all sorts of stories. There's paranormal activity. People claim that in that area there's ghosts, that you can see a man in a hood standing there watching you. There's some stories, of course, like in the 80s during the Satanic Panic. People said that that's where Satan worshipers gathered to do their, I don't know, ceremonies and stuff. And then there's a story of a mystic man who had all these followers. He was maybe like I just keep thinking of like Charles Manson. I don't know what his job title was, but that kind of guy that had followers, cult leader. And then he murdered them all and put them in a well. And if you look in the well, you can see, people, corpses trying to get it. Anyway, so it's one of those urban legends that has like elements of every urban legend smashed together into Kay's Kay's Cross. But so in 1992, Kay's Cross exploded, and so there's the picture of what is left of Kay's Cross today. Nobody knows what happened. Some people think that it was dynamite. Some people think that the evil contained within Kay's Cross was too much to hold, and it just burst through. But it is still unsolved. That case is still unsolved today. So at Halloween time now, they have like those scary tours where you can go to Kay's Cross and go in the hollow and see it. And so I'm going to do that this year because it sounds awesome. Anyway, that's the story of Kay's Cross. It's not really a story. It's a bunch of different stories that don't really make sense, but we have our creepy thing. So Julie, what do you think? Would you book it?
Well, I will. I would book it. I have a feeling I'm going to be booking a lot of stuff over this episode. But, I love stuff like that. I'm super fascinated with like the stone circles that are all over the UK and any kind of oldie like thing, even though that's not nearly as old as the stone circles, but just things that are created by people for unknown reasons and then sort of build up all of this mystery around them is really fascinating to me. I really love that.
Cool. All right, Heather, what do you think?
So I wouldn't book it, but I would read Julie's book about it. I actually think it's a good foundation, no pun intended, for like a fantasy novel where it can be a portal between worlds or something. And then it exploded because the bad guys won the big good guys, and now there's bad guys infiltrating this cute little town of Kaysville. I don't know. I think it has really great plot potential.
Cool. All right, Jen, what do you think?
If I switched genres, I would totally book it because I've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. I don't know why I'm addicted to this show, but it reminds me of that kind of thing where there's like alien tech stuck in an old rock. And then there's like the fact that it exploded is what intrigues me
Yeah.
Why did it explode and who did it and what came out of it or what did they discover in the middle of it? Like that's where my brain's going. So if I switched genres, did some YA, sci-fi, fantasy kind of thing, I'd totally book it.
Okay. Yeah, and me too. I think it's cool. I love those weird little stories, and it would be fun to have a town where everybody kind of has this place that they're too scared to go because of whatever thing that's there that nobody knows why it's there.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to move on. Thanks for listening to the K's Cross story. And we're going to talk about, Jen is going to tell us a story.
So here in Texas, there is a town called Rockwall. And it is actually a really beautiful town. And there's a lot of really good schools there. And it borders a lake, Lake Ray Hubbard, that I've been on and love. It's a really pretty place. But its name derives from something kind of interesting. Like you would expect, rock wall. There is a rock wall. However, this wall, as you can see in this picture, is completely underground. So there are parts of it that they've excavated or that are visible, but largely it's all still underground, and it's been there. They don't know how long it's been there. They're speculating the time frame that this rock wall's been there, and there's a ton. Just like Jen's story, there's a ton of speculation about who built the wall, why is the wall there. But the general consensus is it's old and perhaps ancient, and that there was this ancient civilization that lived in Rockwall, Texas, and a part of it involved this wall. But a couple of the things are intriguing to me. Of course, UFOs are involved. They have this theory that perhaps aliens lived there or somehow used our rock and made a wall like you can see. But they talk about the shape of the stones and the sediment in between, and it just looks not necessarily, it looks man or alien made. So yeah, the people that live in Rockwall today, what was that?
Man or alien.
Or alien made. Because we don't want to discriminate against the alien species that could be given credit for this. So the people who live in Rockwall today that have been there a long time, the Historical Society and everything, are super proud of this wall. And they've been aware of it for a long time. The first discovery of it was actually on a person's property, and the family still owns that property. They've had it for 3 or 4 generations. And it has not been seen, though. I forget the amount of years. It's been a few years, like 10 or so years since anyone's seen any portion of the wall. So it's not forgotten, but it's not a huge topic of conversation. Yet the town holds the name Rock Wall. And if you're walking through Rockwall, Texas, you're walking over what is probably an ancient town, at least as old as the wall, and nobody knows why it's there.
All right. So Heather, would you book Rockwall?
So I would book it, but I wouldn't use an alien plotline because I do like some things in sci-fi, but I just don't feel super skilled. So I would probably just do it more of a straight historical, maybe even 2 timeline where a contemporary character discovers it, and I don't know, there might have to be magic involved. So maybe, I don't know. Yeah. I love like the concept of just finding out the mystery of it.
Mm-hmm. What about you, Julie?
I think I would book that because I find it I think it would be really fun to do some kind of, I love romance, right? Some kind of romance where 2 people meet magically along this wall because maybe they're both searching for something, maybe answers about the wall, maybe answers about their life. And just kind of the mystery of the wall brings them together. So how long is the wall? Does anybody know? Jen, do you know?
They haven't ever excavated the whole thing, to my knowledge. Someone here might know more, but they haven't. It's like they've seen bits and pieces. No one's ever dug out the whole wall. I think it's under people's stuff, houses, roads, and things. But they just now and then get pieces of it. And they haven't given it a lot of attention over the last decade. So there hasn't been significant effort.
Yeah. For sure, I would believe that houses built on the wall were haunted.
Oh, yeah.
I'm just saying that. So,
Jen, would you book it?
I'm thinking portals here, but yeah, I'm the same lines of Julie and Heather too. I would. I'm fascinated. I'd switch genres, but I really think it's super intriguing and just who knows, maybe there's magic energy that flows through certain parts of the wall if you happen to be standing in just the right spot. I don't know. It's intriguing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I would too. If I don't book it, I would at least want to research it. And I wonder if anybody's like talked to the like native tribes people down there, if they know anything about it or if they have legends about it. I kind of looked for that a bit when I was, finding this story and sending in. Oh, and this story was sent to us by a person named Rebecca that watches. So,
Oh,
and she
thank you, Rebecca. Yeah, I didn't know that.
yeah, so I kind of looked I didn't see any of that. So I don't know. I think
Someone commented that maybe something is trapped behind the wall, and that's a super intriguing concept. That what if people, maybe a vandal, maybe a researcher exposes too much of the wall or breaks a hole in the wall and something gets out.
yeah.
Because, it can't be coincidental that no one's digging up this wall. It's
Yeah.
just been left alone.
Maybe leave it alone.
Yeah.
And I'm now, you're right, I forgot to look at the comments. Cindy Johnson said, I might have to come to Kaysville on Halloween to see Kays Cross. Come on, Cindy, you and I can go.
I'm coming. I'm in.
Yeah, I knew you would. So, okay. We have one more story, Julie. This story is like tailor-made for Julie Daines. Fun.
It is tailor-made for me. It's about a curse, and I even have a book with the curse. So this is just perfect for me. So this takes place at the Escalante Petrified State Park. And I've always lived in Utah pretty much my whole life and called it Escalante. But now someone told me it's Escalante to the locals. So I'm a little confused, but I'm going to just stick with what I grew up with. Escalante Petrified State Park. And the manager of the state park there says that every year, at least half a dozen to a dozen people send letters and packages back to the park containing pieces of petrified wood. It's illegal to take the pieces of wood from the park. It's illegal to take anything from a state park. But people have like cleared out whole areas by just taking little pieces of petrified wood. But at Escalante State Park, there's a curse that if you take a piece of petrified wood, you will have bad luck. And so many people have taken a piece of wood and experienced bad luck that it's like the curse is like a real thing. So just for example, this one guy sent back his wood with a letter that said, I picked up this small piece of wood when I visited last year. I thought the warnings were phony. Since that time, I have had 3 accidents. So basically, since then, he's broken his collarbone. He's broken 3 ribs. He broke his foot. His motorhome caught on fire. And right after his warranty expired, his car engine, as he said, went south. So he's like, I believe in the curse. And there are just letters and letters and letters. Every year, people send stuff back to the park because they've experienced the curse and they want to be relieved from the bad luck that they have.
Wow.
Well, I love that. I would definitely book it. That's hilarious. It's not hilarious if you're the person that's actually cursed. But my dad has got so much petrified wood.
I mean,
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So if you go, I've been there to Escalante. If you go, see, I call it Escalante because someone told me that's how so we will just, go for both. But if you go there around the parking lots, there's no petrified wood. You have to hike to get to any.
You have to hike like a mile to get to the petrified wood because everyone has cleared it out from the area right around the parking lot.
And if also, this is where I got, because I legally obtained my petrified wood just right outside the national, like the border, there's like petrified wood there too. So take the uncursed petrified wood is my advice. So Jen, would you book it?
Oh, I don't know. I don't like curses, so I'm just because I don't know. I think maybe it would be if I could turn it into a rom-com, I would.
Okay.
The curse could be something funny,
Yes.
Maybe it doesn't have to be bad luck. It could be, you can't grow your hair any longer or whatever.
Yes.
What about you, Heather?
I really like the idea. I have written about curses before. They're usually not super scary ones. But I'm thinking maybe in a rom-com, the heroine could put the petrified wood in the guy she's on a date with because he's being a jerk. So she puts him in his backpack when he's not looking. And so he gets cursed. That'd be awesome.
Or arrested, whatever.
Right.
Okay, Julie, what do you think?
I mean, again, these are all just right up my alley. I think I would book it. I love curses, funny or scary or whatever. I think it's always an interesting subject matter to deal with, is a curse. And even more than the curse is the efforts that they have to make to break the curse, right? So I don't know.
Yeah.
I would book it.
Cool. That was a great episode, everybody. So just remember, like we always say at the end of all the episodes, that you can write us in your stories. It's basically the funnest thing ever to read them. So write them in, and that's our email address is fictionirlauthors@gmail.com. And we love the stories. We love all the weird stuff, all the stuff that's maybe too fictional to actually be fiction. Anything you want to send, it's really fun. And we will see you next time on
Fiction
In
Real
Life.